So I'm just going to run through some, just taking a look at learning and application problems for day 15 here. Um, all right, so this is the first problem, and what we're going to see is we have a, 50% arc coming across here, as well as some circles going in. Think about what views you want to see this in when you're dimensioning. What views you dimension circles in compared to holes, right? Because that's going to be important for this problem. But other than that, this one's not too bad. So let's move on and see problem 2 here. All right, so problem 2, we have this structure with a hole in the middle. So we're going to need to think about, what view we want to see these pillars in. So if we were to cop over to, see this with hidden lines, kind of like we will, like this would be a bad way to define those top two pieces because we would have, we would be defining the hidden lines, right? We want to be looking at it in this orientation to see, be able to see what's happening with this. As well as you want to note, again, what way you dimension these holes that go through, because we don't want to dimension them in the rectangular view because then we're dimensioning the hidden lines. So let's take a look at problem 3 here. So those are the two learnings. These are now the application assignments. So here we have another. Let's take a look at it with hidden lines turned on so we can see it as we would. Again, we have some holes, and we also have, think about what's the best way to look at this so you're minimizing the amount of hidden lines, right? This would not be a great way to look at this part because there are so many hidden lines that, if we just turned around, we'd see a few more of them. But you will need to note kind of because no matter which way you look at it, whether it's, up here or over here, you're still going to have this, this inclined line. So you need to think about what way can we look at this part to, to have the inclined line shown. There are a few ways to do it. I don't want to give all the answers, but I would look at some of the more advanced features at the top. There are some types of views that we can use that will, that could show us the inside of what's happening inside of a piece, right? Because there's something happening in the middle here. So think about that when you're building it. So let's take a look at problem 4. All right, here's problem 4. Okay, so this is something we just learned about. We have circles, right? These circle holes that are put in, and like you could imagine a circle going through all these, and they would be, they'd be shown correctly. So this one's a little easier because there's not, there's an obvious way to look at it from the front. But this is a great time to practice seeing how a circle would go through these, right? With the construction circle that you need to draw. So you'll draw a construction circle, and then you'll note the diameter of that construction circle, and then the distance between these with an angle, because these look like there's 5 of them, so they're going to be equidistant. All right, so that's that's that one. We just covered that though, so that should be fresh in your mind. And then here's day 15. So the day 15 problem, obviously we have something a little more, a little trickier here. If we look at this with hidden lines on, we need to think about what way we're going to look at it. Because we have some features, right? We have a cutout here, and then we also have a hole that comes in here. The whole piece is filleted, and so we need to think about how we're going to deal with those fillets. So just note that. See, we got some, some chamfering here. We got these holes that come through. There are a few pieces that happen. So think about, how you define this. Obviously, we're going to need to give an angle that this is at, right, to be able to fully define it. Think about, it's back to high school with triangles. If you know how many, sides and angles do you need to know about a triangle to have that triangle be, fully defined. So think about it the same way with this. Think about this as one triangle, and think about what dimensions you need to put on here, horizontally, vertically, do you need to put an angle, all that kind of stuff to make that fully defined. So that's day 15. Yeah, no, let us know if you have any questions. Post any questions to the discussion board. We'll be happy to answer them as quickly as we can.